So being able to first just get into that mindset, like if you want to be great, you have to give something up. Maybe you befriend somebody and they're your manager and they happen to be business savvy, and so they start helping you with that. Maybe you do a partnership deal with a producer, but whatever it is, you have to give up something in order to grow.
Welcome to the Awaken the Awesome podcast with your host, Olivier D. This is Awaken the Awesome, a podcast where we acknowledge that we are all in this together. Through enlightening conversations and personal insights, we like to engage with individuals just like you who show us how they are bringing a little bit of awesomeness along their individual journeys. Our hope is to inspire you to always keep pushing and to stay awesome along the way. Hello, Awesome Tribe, and welcome back to another episode of the Awaken the Awesome podcast. Working with family can be a shot in the dark sometimes, as even the closest relatives can become some damaging business partners. Fortunately, this was not the case for Dave and Dillon Mysliwiec, respectively, CEO of the Upstate Sound and president of Upstate Management. From what I've learned so far, if you want to build a successful business, be it an impressive record label carving its own path in the industry, or a growing music management empire, this will certainly take you a lot of time, patience, sacrifice, and a solid sense of dedication. But if you're lucky enough to count on your family as part of your close circle of collaborators, that's a precious bonus. The palpable synergy and mutual respect that these two brothers shared during our exchange were surely a glimpse of the tremendous bond between them. Dave being the infectiously energetic and fearless creative, and Dillon being the savvy and tactical marketing expert. They're quite the dynamic duo. One of the many takeaways I got from this epic conversation was that you must take great care to ensure that the mission is on everybody's mind and that we are all rowing in the same direction, despite our various roles. Smart, energetic, and with an exemplary sense of collaboration, Dave and Dillon are only getting started. An exciting and noteworthy episode, which I do hope you'll enjoy. So let's get into this. Awaken the Awesome, episode 177 with Dave and Dillon Mysliwiec. Here we go. First of all, it's a pleasure to welcome you on the podcast because I want to celebrate all the great work that you guys are doing. For the people who don't know, I basically connected with Dave a couple of months back over this wonderful platform called Lunch Club. If you haven't heard of it, you definitely should. It's basically the AI deciding to actually connect you with a random stranger, in the universe, and basically just taking 2 seconds actually to connect for however small time. And some people use it for networking. I basically use it to meet new people, which was a lot of fun. And David was definitely really high up on that list. So I want to thank you for that. So that's why I decided to have him back on, because we had such an energetic conversation. And throughout, scheduling for this call, David even decided to add his brother on the podcast as well. So again, it's a twofer. I don't often do two people on the podcast. I've only done it once before. So it's pretty extraordinary. But lively conversation, great gang. Love what they're doing with the Upstate Sound as a brand, as a company, as an empire, because we're going to talk about that as well. Hell yeah. What I really love, and I think this is what I want to start off with, because some people out there need to hear this. And Dave, I want to throw it to you. And because in the conversation that we had, you definitely laid on me in regards to, you know what? Your dreams are never too big. Yeah. Fear will never be an excuse. And I really want you to drive it home for us. Like, for some people, they keep, sitting there in their little kitchen on their little notepad and telling themselves, like, this will never work. Or like, yeah, I want to be a superstar. Or, you know what, I want to have the multi-million-dollar business. But yeah, you know what, let me just write it down, but never go back to it. But you laid on me. You really let me know that, you know what, dream big, dream bigger, and go further, Mm-hmm. So for those of us, like, still in that little, the cowering down or just too afraid to dream, what can you tell us?
Trust yourself. Like, trust yourself to make the right decisions and keep moving forward. Like always, siempre adelante, move forward in Spanish, always forward. And I just kind of like always think that, like, whenever I'm up at 5 a.m. usually, like grinding, doing some type of gig so I can start funding stuff. And every time I wake up, I'm like, and I want to go back to sleep. It's like, it doesn't matter what you want, dude. You have to get up. You have to fund this thing. You have to keep going because that's what's required. That's the only way you can win. That's the only way you can achieve your goals, because if everyone did what they wanted to get to where they wanted to go, then, everyone would be famous and rich and all that shit. So you have to do the things that other people aren't willing to, like wake up at 5 a.m., go do like the Amazon Flex gig thing, get back just in time for the interns to come back, assign them tasks, get them going. I got sessions going on. We had a meeting today with another artist we were signing. Didn't go smoothly, but we ended up doing a marketing agreement with them potentially later. It's figuring it out as you go, because we don't know everything either. And as I've grown and gotten older, it's like most people don't know what they're doing. They're just kind of rolling with the punches and figuring it out as they go, and that's what we're doing. And I personally like to move at a speed where I don't know what to do next, because it forces you to grow. It forces you to figure it out, So like when we first met with the lawyers, like the Upstate Sound was officially established, I think March last year.
Okay.
LLC. And we just started as a beat making, thing. Dillon moved down here. I was a DJ producer, making, records and stuff like that. And I decided to put that on hold, because you really have to make a choice. Do you want to be the baker or the businessman? The baker as in the beat maker, making records and all that stuff. So I decided to, since my brother's a businessman, like, okay, in order to grow and to get better, we need to focus on the business, because in music it is 90% business, it's 10% creative. For sure. That's how we see it anyways. And so we decided to, okay, let's hit this BeatStars thing really hard. Maybe we'll do the ClickFunnels thing. We really attacked that for a little bit, because BeatStars had this dude named Legion Beats that was really popular at the time. And he's like, oh, I made a lot of money using ClickFunnels and stuff, so like we were just learning. And then we started bringing on a bunch of beat makers, other producers. And I'm like, okay, we'll handle the business and everything you don't want to do. You just keep making beats and being creative. And that was like the whole process behind the beginning of the Upstate Sound, which was just a beat making thing. Nice. And little by little, we had a podcast called MC to MC podcast. Originally,
I saw a bunch of clips on YouTube. I saw those.
Yeah. It was originally his idea. We had
kidding.
Yeah. We had two friends who were rappers who, or rap MCs in Nashville, Music City. So that's where the name kind of stemmed from. Like it was MC rappers speaking to Music City.
To MC.
Wow. And
nice play of words.
Yeah. We ended up producing it ourselves, and they were the host for a little bit. We ended up going separate ways, and then Tom and Superb stepped in and are really killing it now. But like through that podcast, we started meeting more people, more artists, more business people, more, everybody. And then we met Blow. He's one of our signed artists now. He was just a friend of one of the hosts. He showed us all his beats and stuff. And then Tom, who was our first beat maker, first person we brought on, was listening to it with his stank face and all that. And he's like, yo, we got to sign him. I'm like, we make beats, dude. What do you mean sign him? Like, so he's like, okay, maybe we should start thinking of a record label. Okay.
Let's make a label.
We just moved into that and just kind of figured it out as we go. So like we started planning and all that. And then when we went back home to upstate New York, hence the name, we're in Nashville, by the way. I think you know that already. We went back upstate and I did nothing but like research how record labels, publishers, and all the business side of things work for like 2 weeks straight, from fucking when I woke up at 8 a.m. to like 2 a.m. while my little brother was playing video games, because he was back. This is where
I want to throw it to Dillon, because because you mentioned that Dillon sometimes is more of the business brain behind the operation. I want to throw it to you, Dillon. How, for the creatives that are listening to us, because again, everybody wants to be I want to be free flowing and I want to live my art and I'm only about just chilling and just making my art, but you need to drive a point home to the people listening to us. You want to excel, you want to build a business, you want the revenue. Because again, I believe, even when I was doing photography in a past life, a camera costs money, lighting costs money, a softbox costs money, batteries cost money, your dreams cost money. So talk to us about, again, catering or chiseling or zeroing in on the business side. Okay, the creativity is very important, but as Dave said, the business side, you can't leave it out if you want to be successful. So how do we navigate that? And what are the best practices, if you will?
Well, the first thing I would say is that before even trying to get an artist to understand how important business is, they have to adjust their mindset. One of the things that we've been learning as we're talking with artists is, first off, most of them don't want to do the business side. And yet many are unwilling to give up any ownership of their creative side in order to have someone else completely handle their business side. which is crazy to think. Like, people need to realize that either you become the jack of all trades or you're going to have to hire somebody who can do those things.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not willing to give up part of that, or if you don't have a massive amount of capital floating around, well,
Mm-hmm.
then, you're going to be stuck where you are. So the first thing is
baker businessman.
Yeah, like a lot of people are really good bakers, or like, musicians or artists, and then they want to go start like a record label of their own or a publishing house of their own. But the problem is, once you do that, you can't continue baking, right?
Right.
So if an artist wants to be an artist, they have to understand they have to give up something for that to happen, right?
Okay.
So some of that could be, if you sign a record deal, you might give up master ownership, but you're pumping out way greater quality music. Like, that is the trade-off, is that your music can elevate in quality because you're giving up part ownership,
Mm-hmm.
right? So being able to first just get into that mindset, like, if you want to be great, you have to give something up. Maybe you befriend somebody and they're your manager and they happen to be business savvy, and so they start helping you with that. Maybe you do a partnership deal with a producer, but whatever it is, you have to give up something in order to grow.
Right.
And that's the same with, like, being fit, for example. If you want to be fit, you have to give up video game time in exchange for gym time, right? You have to give up something in order to get the thing that you actually want. So you have to decide, do I want to be a artist who earns money, or do I want to make music on the side? Because I don't remember where I heard this quote, but there's no such thing as a starving artist. If you're a starving artist, that means you're not an artist, right? Because a real artist is a professional artist. They make money with their art. And if you can't figure out how to do that, then you're not an artist. You're somebody who has a hobby, right? So if that's right there, that's what I mean with that mindset right off the bat before you ever try to make any business decisions. If you're set with that and you're trying to figure out, like, okay, what do I do next? First off, you'd be amazed at what Google can teach you, right? Like,
people take a lot of that for granted. That's so true. That's so true.
Like some people, like, if you don't know what that is, like, I love Gary Vee. I don't know if you follow him or not.
Yes,
but, like,
I do.
Yeah, so I know. I kind of figured, because I recognize all those books in the back of your shelf back there. Like, if you really want to elevate whatever you're doing, you have to get educated. Google's the first place, and it's free. There has been nothing I can't find in the music industry online. I can find everything. In fact, even some of the difficult stuff, like trying to figure out what record labels are doing to work with giant artists. Kanye took his entire contract and publicized it on Twitter. You know what Dave did? He screenshotted every single image of it, and now we have that as a swipe file we can review and look at.
Oh, wow.
So, like, that's something, like, if you want something, you have to figure out how to find it. And sometimes it's as simple as going, okay, Google, how do I do this? So, for example, we started a management company. That's one of the first companies that we started. And I'm the one that's running that. So I've never managed anyone as an artist before. I'm not even huge in the music industry. I was the one that grew up that liked a bunch of songs and didn't know the artist names, right? But I learned the side. So you know what I did? I went to Google and I said, okay, how to be a good artist manager. And now
what does a manager do?
Yeah, like literally, like that's all I searched for was literally the phrase, how to be a good artist manager. I found hundreds of videos from this one company who literally teaches all of it for free on YouTube. I created massive amounts of databases and documents in which I could pull from now in order to help my artist. For example, we just put on a live show for our artist. I have an entire spreadsheet built out. So it's like, where was it? What was the name? What was the event? Was it rainy that day? How many attendants did we get? How many attendants did the venue normally get? Questions I never would have thought to ask about an event, but I Googled how to be a good artist manager. And I didn't just watch 3 videos. I watched like 3,000 videos. Like I dug as deep as I possibly could into this one subject. So I knew so much about it that now I come across other artist managers and I ask them a question I think they should already know. And they're like, oh, I didn't even think about that. I'm like,
there
what? Like I spent 3 weeks hardcore pressing into this and I know more than artist managers who've been doing it for 3 years. So it's that idea of diving super deep into the music industry if you want to be able to figure this stuff out.
That's passionate. And it really shows. And again, that's all you guys are saying in regards to what we were talking about at the beginning in terms of putting in the work. Anything that you want to execute to a certain level of expertise or efficiency or success, whatever that looks like for you, is what I'm hearing is that, you know what? Your art is beautiful, whatever task or trade you want to dive into. We're talking about music. Yeah, that's great. Like, play your guitar. You make dope songs. You make dope beats. You're a great rapper. You got great lyrics, but understand that there's another level to it that probably escapes you and that you might want to be paying attention to. And I'm sure you guys have come across it because you guys are in the industry more often than I can. You see the repercussions of people who are not willing to put in the work. And I'm wondering, because I'm pretty sure that you've come across multiple personalities, and that's the thing. When someone, I believe that's a huge, a huge obstacle to someone's success or elevation, if you will, when ego comes into the play. And Dave, I want to throw it to you. How do you navigate the different types of personalities? Because again, you've got a personality. You guess you know what's best for the artist, but again, the artist comes in with their own ego. So I know me, I know my art, I know what's good. What do you know? Just make my beats and shut up. How do you navigate that? Because sometimes I'm pretty sure those can be very interesting conversations.
So how we kind of, like Dillon was saying, it's mindset. We vet people before we work with them. We vet artists before we sign them. Like and it's basically just letting them talk. We had an artist over the other day he spoke for 4 straight hours. You know, it was a long conversation, but I'm just listening. I'm taking it all in. I'm seeing how driven he is. I'm seeing how much research does he do in his own time? How dedicated is he? How is he researching XXXTentacion's way of performing, like those little details? And he does do that. But something that struck me with him, and that's what we look for, because I can make you sound good. You know, I can make you sound talented, but I can't teach you drive, and I can't teach you hunger. And like, would you bleed for this shit? You know what I mean? Because that's what's required. But with the guy we had over the other day, he's extremely green in terms of just getting in, even though he has the drive and the passion behind it. So signing him would be like giving someone, here's thousands of dollars worth of fucking gear before you even understand the basics. You know what I mean? So some people do have to do some growing. Some people have to fail a few times before they're ready for someone of a higher caliber to take them on and make them better, because they need to be willing to learn and take constructive criticism. And that's why we vet them, because if they're not willing to be able to learn, then I can't do anything with them, and I'm not going to waste my time.
Wow. That's pretty cool. That's cool. Because again, so I'm hearing a lot of, mentorship. I believe a lot of structure that we're trying to build around this artist, because you want to see them succeed. You're not just going to waste your time and theirs, just accompanying them on this path. So they have a lot of benefit, first of all, to being open. And of course, I'm also hearing that, you leave a lot of space to them to, express, their vision and where they want to go and how to best structure their path along that way.
Yeah, because we have an artist, one of our artists, he's so willing to learn, and so he takes, what am I trying to say? Like, when I give him advice, he takes it but makes it his own. So it's not like he's just replicating what I'm saying, like what he should do. He's able to take it and make it his own style. And then it's like, oh, fuck, that was rad as shit, dude. Hell yeah. Keep doing that. Be more quirky. That's rad. Like when he's like vocal performing or anything like that. Another one of our artists was the other day when he's like, he thought the record was done. And I'm like, when you think it's done, you're about halfway there. And then I pushed him a little bit, and then I'm like, okay. And then we started adding a few more things, and he's like, oh, fuck, dude, And then the record really started coming together. There was more arrangements, more canvases, more ear candy, all that stuff. So it's signing someone who's willing to see that and be pushed a little bit and all that,
And you know what? I'm going to throw this one to Dillon, because this one's really cool. This one just popped in my head as I was listening to you talk. You guys, in the dynamic you guys have, I really see that you guys, in all your excitement and energy, and it's so palpable, and I'm so jealous, because the energy in the studio has got to be something. But Dillon, I want to throw your way in regards to, because I heard you talk about, okay, needing to learn, needing to go to Google and getting as much information as you can. But I'm also hearing that, you know what, you guys are also willing to take chances, because I'm probably understanding that along the journey, you're going to fuck up. There will be mistakes. There will be learning curves. And for the people that are listening to us who are maybe overthinkers, who are going to basically just go dive into analysis paralysis, how can we help them navigate to the fact that, understanding that fear is okay? Or do you buy into that? Or like, how can we help them understand that, you just have to move, just make a step and move forward? Because I hear that a lot, because I don't want to fail. I don't want to fuck up. I don't want to fall over. What if I lose money? What if they don't sign? What if I wasted all this time? How can we help them navigate that, do you think?
I would say that a big way to get around that is, first, typically what people are afraid because they don't have enough knowledge. That is the starting point. Most people don't do enough research. I do know people stuck in analysis paralysis, but like, I'd be willing to bet most artists aren't there. Most artists aren't like, they keep evaluating the new marketing techniques. Instead, what happens is they might be looking at their song. And that's why we say like the 90% business, 10% creative. So if anything, artists should be pumping out songs and dumping them to the public as fast as possible. And the main reason for that is that, what's his name? Super Duper Kyle, right? Kyle, the artist. He literally has tons of songs out there. He's still basically a nobody. He has a song on his list and he's like, I don't know, we should release it. And they finally do. And it's I Spy, right? That song blew up and made them famous. People don't realize that whatever you think you're going to do, like Gary Vee says this a lot too, like quality is subjective and you're not the arbiter, right? Like your fans are. Like Wonderwall by who's Wonderwall? Oasis, yeah. Like they don't even like that song, and it made them hyper famous, right? So if you want to be a big star, like, and this is something that we've come across. Like if you're an artist at all, you have to have some ego, right? Like you have, like the fact that you want people looking at you, you do have an ego. You have to just come to terms with that. And now that that's the case, realize that the thing you're looking for is on the other side of people hearing you. You have to release stuff. So the research should be being done along the way, but the best thing you can do is like, oh, somebody said that Reels gets me more traction on Instagram. Okay. Like just do it. Right. So like a small example, we have a, what's it called? A sub label called Kids Can Dream. And we have one of our interns running that channel, and we actually got it. We had him running it. He was doing pretty good, and we got it shadow banned because he accidentally reused hashtags too much. Forgot to mention it to him, right? But that's fine. Okay. So we waited a couple of weeks. The shadow ban got lifted, we realized, because we started getting a little more traction. But we're still not getting that much engagement. I go, okay, I want you to try something. Put in a call to action at the end of the text. Put in, hey, if you like this, like the post. That's it. Like, think about it. People are mindlessly scrolling Instagram when they look at your post, just like you do when you're wandering through. Like if you're looking
all
through
the time,
it's mindless. So I've done it. I've looked at a post. I've liked it, but I didn't actually hit like. So just put it in there. That post is our number one liked post by like 3 or 4 times the amount.
Boom.
Right. So literally just like trying stuff like that. Now that for me, like I learned that that's something important, a call to action, but it's from the research I did along the way. So just posting, just getting out there, messaging people, like one thing you can do that doesn't require any intellectual like know-how of the business or the music industry. Reach out to other people and do it selflessly. Don't do it selfishly, right? People only care about
say that again. Say that again.
Yeah. So you want to reach out to people selflessly, not selfishly. No one wants to hear your new EP. They don't even know who you are. But you know how we started growing some of our following? We reached out to people and said, whoa, your beat is dope. That's awesome. And they're like, cool, thanks. We're like, yeah, I really like it. Got any others like it? And we're not doing that just to get follows. We're doing that because we genuinely like the music industry and we want to reach out to people genuinely. But interestingly enough, that actually directly relates to getting more followers, getting real fans.
Energy attracts energy.
Yeah. And so that's kind of the thing. And if you want to make it so that you're not spending, 14 hours a day on Instagram doing that, right? There's a great strategy. You can Google it. It's Gary V $1.80 strategy. Does not cost $1.80. It's free to do. It's just a template for understanding, hey, spend an hour a day, reach out to people in your network using hashtags to find new people. So you're not messaging the same people, right? You're finding new people that way. We found artists that way, artists we want to work with now.
No kidding.
So like that's the whole idea, is just constantly reaching out. Like you never know who you're going to network with. Like you're on Lunch Club. Why? Right? To meet new people. Exactly. You don't know what might come from that. One of them might be your future boss, your future business partner, your future employee. You have no idea how that might turn out. And so just reach out to people genuinely. Don't have an agenda, because when you do, people can tell. They might not know what it is, but they certainly know you have one. So reach out to people and be genuine. Like think about like what you like on an Instagram post. Do you like it when someone's like, yo, DM me? No. You'd prefer them go, oh, I just DM'd you something for you. Right? Not for themselves. Like you want them messaging you, like, or just commenting on the post you actually put. Like when you see somebody with a photo of a cool picture and they're like, hey, check out my album. What? Like,
what?
Who are you? Why don't you comment on my picture since you're here? Right? So do that to other people. Be nice to other people and you'll be amazed what happens back.
And it's amazing how we've gotten back to, as stupid as it sounds, again, through some reading and research, I realized that synergetically, if you will, if that's even a word, the quality of human interaction, like genuine human interaction, is the reward that comes from that, both through engagement or just sheer feeling good that you're just connecting with another human being or another brand or another person or an artist, just genuinely, is tenfold, because it's not even something that you made up. It's not even fake, but the return on investment for that little time, that little high that you said, it's amazing, because it doesn't feel like force. It's not something that you bought, but it's time that you genuinely gave. And sometimes when you get that back, it's so amazing. Cause you're so right. Because sometimes I make posts, sometimes I make little snippets on Instagram, and someone just calls back, hey, thanks for that episode. Yeah, that guest was great. I really appreciate what you're doing. You know, those long ass nights where you're spending editing is like, oh my God, what am I doing? And, you know, and sometimes, again, like you said, a listener can just show up and say, like, you know what? Thanks for what you're doing. Great job. And then moving on. It's like someone actually took the time to say hi and acknowledge the work that you're doing. That was so much.
One amazing example I have of that is there was somebody who was following me on Instagram. They started following me. I didn't even realize it. And one day I posted about my daily schedule, right? And they looked at it and they were just kind of like, oh, like, what do you do? All this stuff. I chatted with them back and forth. Like, again, I don't have an agenda. It's a random person. They happen to follow my stuff. They asked me a couple questions. Later, I find out they're trying to get into marketing as well. And I basically said, hey, I just had a friend of mine give me advice. I adjusted this proposal for a client of mine, or a now client of mine. They liked it. They saw it. They're like, this is exactly what I was looking for. So I'll remove that guy's name, but here, check out the proposal. I just gave him the proposal. Her first client, she lives in a different country. I think it's Switzerland or something. Her first client was because of the proposal I gave her. I've now just been a lifelong follower because I can help somebody.
Just helping out and reaching out. And that's worth so much. See, that speaks to a certain level of character. That speaks to a genuine personality behind the brand, because it's also important to understand the face, not just the wonderful company that you guys have built, but also, again, it speaks to a lot of character, because you take the time to acknowledge the people that are following you and pay it forward and just give them just a little bit. Again, bringing value. There's a buzzword also that comes a lot. Bringing value to the people that follow you. You never know what can come back from it. What other question did I have?
In real life too, like we had an artist that we were trying to help out too. He always was wondering why he wasn't getting followers and stuff like that, or like why he's not getting shows with certain people. And I was like, well, you just got $1.80 in real life, not just on Instagram. Like you're older, so why don't you teach some of these young kids who don't know like the production skills that and so they can grow their things up, their skills up. And then little by little, they're like, oh, what do you do? And I was like, I'm an artist. And then like that you go home and then they check you out and then you got a fan now, they listen to all your stuff now. Holy shit. Not only did he help me out with my beat making, I fuck with him as a rapper too. Holy shit.
There you go.
You get a follower that way. It's just
all it takes is just one person. One person, and just creates that ripple effect. That's what I love about the internet. This interconnection is such an amazing time to be alive. I had one for Dave on this one. The thing is, you talk a lot about, you're very big on the grind. You're very big about the commitment. And I want to basically address something that a lot of people deal with along this journey. You will have those moments of doubt. You will have those moments of repetition and mundane monotony. And you just have to understand, through my experience at least, you just have to keep at it. You have to stay committed. You have to stay grinding, but you have to stay patient. And especially in this day and age of just 2-second gratification, a lot of people are impatient. And if you had a couple of words of wisdom, I really need for people to understand, that, whatever journey you have to set for yourself, it's going to take time. That is a reality. You can't get away from it. And unfortunately, we've been sold this idea, and I don't want to sound preachy, but social media and all that crap makes you think that, 1 second, one beat, one hit, and you can pick it up to the stratosphere. But you know what? I'm pretty sure that all these people that, are making those millions, like they've been putting in the work for like 10 plus years. You guys have been doing it for like days on end, but it's not going to happen overnight. I don't think it's such a buzzword thrown over too often.
Overnight,
but I'm pretty sure you're big on that. So I really, you really set the example, but I really need people to hear it from you. Now, how important is patience in the process?
It's necessary. You have to have it, but also know that I didn't start making records and produce until I was like 26, like 2016. I'm 32 now. You know, most of these kids start when they're 18, you know, when they're doing stuff. I was fucking off at that age, like partying and stuff like that, you know, but I don't compare myself to them because every path is different. You know what I mean? And I don't have any regrets either. It's just the way it was. I'm cool with it. But from 26 forward, I did nothing but perfect my craft. I'm a record producer. I make beats. I can record. I can, you know, mix and master and all that stuff. And I got extremely fucking good at it. I'm gonna send you our first single after this. I actually just uploaded it to distribution. It'll be out the 15th of December, but I'm gonna chuck it to you so you can hear it.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
Yeah. And Dillon did a similar thing where he started reading and really building his business knowledge around 25-ish years old or something like that. We kind of both hit it at the same time, getting in our own direction of like how, you know, perfecting our skills and stuff. And didn't think of like the business side at the time. Didn't really just wanted to be a DJ and make beats with my buddy Shane. We just, you know, grew up doing it. But little by little, you know, some things were getting monotonous and boring and, you know, the drive wasn't there, you know, until like really when Shane moved to LA and Dillon moved down, that was a spark that really, you know, helped me out a lot because I didn't know what to do next. And my little brother helped me out with that. You know what I mean? He was going to go to San Francisco. He decided to come here to Nashville to help me out because I needed, you know, someone to help me with rent and all that stuff. So it's not just yourself along the way. It is others, you know, it's trusting your family and close friends to help you get through some things. I haven't experienced it in the last couple of years just because we have purpose now. And that's a big thing. You know, it's knowing what your purpose is. And like, once you figured that out, like you don't really have those off days anymore. Like if you can burn out a little bit, that's a little different than an off day to me. Because there's this day where I'm just like, oh, not today, dude. I'm fucking exhausted, but I know I'm gonna kill it tomorrow. So I like Mondays. Everyone hates Mondays. I get fucking off on Mondays. I love Mondays. Cause like if I screwed up last week or the weekend or something, then I can reset everything, you know, instead of waiting for New Year's resolution or some shit, you know? But yeah, like as long as you have a plan too, plan is extremely important, which is another thing I learned from him. Like as soon as you have that, you can go to it. If you're having an off day, I don't even know what to do today. You already wrote it down last week. Check it. Now you know what to do. You know what I mean?
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, that's like the main difference between like habit and discipline. Like there's certain things you can't turn into a habit, and like so that's like that analysis paralysis I've seen in like the entrepreneur world where they're like, oh, I'm going to turn everything into a habit and automate it. It's like, no, like certain things are supposed to suck. And it's like, there's a great stoic mentality. It's like life is a struggle, but you can choose what your struggle is. Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And the thing that Dave said earlier about having purpose, the other thing on top of that, I would say is having responsibility for someone other than yourself. And the fact that we're working with teams, if we fail our artists, that's worse than if we failed ourselves.
Yeah, our dream is no longer our own, so we can't fail. We have to succeed. You know what I mean? We have interns, we have a team, we have artists signed with us. Like we can't fuck up because they lose.
You have an off day, okay, that's on you. But you know, people are relying on you. But I wanted to piggyback on what Dillon just said in regards to, you know, both accountability, but the importance of a plan. Because again, I really love the word discipline. I love it. For me, it's like a guiding compass because there's motivation, but there's discipline. And the fact that, like you said, certain things are supposed to suck. You know, some people love going to the gym. For me personally, listen, I get up, I got to go work out. It's going to suck. It's going to hurt. But I know that I'm only buying myself a couple of more years with my kids down the road. But I hate it. I really hate it. But you really need to, I guess what I'm trying to say is the fact that, you know what? If you don't have the right motivations, and how do we make sure that our plan, I'm trying to phrase this properly. Guys, you got me so excited. I'm messing up right now. Bring it back. The thing is, purpose is important. So the first question I had, how do we properly define our purpose? Because I'm sure you guys have a purpose for the Upstate Sound. And a lot of people get those words mixed up. Yeah, my purpose is to change the world and cure cancer. How do we make sure that our purpose is aligned and that's true to ourselves and genuine? How do we define that, Dillon?
Well, so one thing that goes along with purpose, so people that have purpose but they don't have, there's a great book, Drive, by Daniel H. Pink, and it discusses 3 main things you need to stay motivated. Purpose is only one of them. Okay. The other 2 that you need are mastery, which means you are getting better at something, and autonomy, the ability to choose. Some people, under autonomy, there's 4 different categories. There's the autonomy of time, the autonomy of team, the autonomy of technique, and the autonomy of task.
This guy's killing me right now. Wow.
So under those, different people have different importance. For me, if my whole day was scheduled, it'd actually be easier. So even though I'm an entrepreneur, I actually prefer a scheduled day. Mm-hmm. So like right after I left my engineering job, I didn't have a scheduled day. I started slipping until I wrote up a plan and figured out what am I going to do every day? Because if not, I'll just slide. Mm-hmm. And so that one for me isn't as important. I don't need freedom of time. I need freedom of task. That's mine. Like everyone's is different. I need freedom of task. I want to choose what I do. And I want freedom of team. I want to choose who I get to do it with, right? Technique. If you want to show me how to do it, cool. Maybe that'll save me time. I still want to choose that, but I want to have that little bit of freedom, but understanding that. So those are the 3 things you actually need. Purpose is one of those though, because if you are getting really good at something and you have all the freedom in the world, if you're not, if you have no purpose, you're eventually going to wander off. So those people that work from home in their pajamas, eventually, if they don't have a purpose greater than the job at hand, eventually they're going to slowly stop working as good and they're just going to wander off, which is what a lot of people did during 2020, right? They
exactly.
had a whole year to completely reshape their life, and a lot of people vegged out and caught up on Netflix. So basically, purpose is good, but even with purpose, like I want to change the world, cool, but you're not getting better at anything. I want to change the world, but I have no freedom to, choose how I do that, right? So you have to figure out what it is that you want first. So like what is the autonomy you require? And that takes a lot of self-reflection. I used to think mine was time. I used to think that was the thing I wanted, was freedom of time. Mm-hmm. And honestly, like I want the freedom to choose when I do stuff, but not necessarily like my schedule. If I have my whole day scheduled out, I am way more efficient and I enjoy the crap out of it because I enjoy networking with people. I'm an extrovert. Not everyone's an extrovert. Mm-hmm. I enjoy learning new things. So that's the other reason I like talking to people, because everyone's my teacher, right? Somebody knows something I don't know and I want to know it. So, that's the other part of that. But purpose, the way that you find purpose is a combination of actually getting good at something and realizing how you can apply it. Right? Like if you're just like, I want to change the world, what does that even mean? That's super vague. Like,
what does that mean?
I'm a marketing consultant, and if I found out that was the purpose of your business, I would say, so you don't do anything, right? Like, because the world's already changing itself all the time. What are you doing? Like, if you got in the way, if anything, maybe you'd stop it. So figuring out what exactly you want to do. And once you know that, acquiring a skill in that direction. And then the other thing I would definitely say is people need to understand that your purpose can change. When you have kids one day, your new purpose is providing for them.
So it's okay for your purpose to change.
Yeah. And that's the other thing, and that's the whole misconception with passion and thinking that I'm born a computer programmer. It's like, what? Like how? Like you don't have a computer in the womb to play with. Like how are you becoming passionate about something that didn't exist 100 years ago? So basically, the way you build a passion is getting good at something. That's the mastery part. So now that you're passionate about it, as long as it's going towards something bigger than yourself, the purpose, then you can actually do something. So you need to be building a skill towards something you can apply it to, and that's where your purpose must go. And you don't have to have your own purpose. You can find a leader who has a great purpose and help them do that too. Not everyone needs to be an entrepreneur, which is the thing that everyone gets lost in. Like you might even make Steve Wozniak made more money than Steve Jobs at Apple. Steve Jobs got fired from Apple, right? Steve Jobs is a business builder. Steve Wozniak was a technical genius, right? That's the idea.
Yes.
So when you're working on whatever it is, you got to figure out which one of those you want to be. And now that you know whether or not you want to be the inventor or the person actually building the thing, figure out if you are the one that has to run the business or someone else does, and then find someone to do that with, right? So you either make your purpose and others follow you, or you find someone that has the purpose that matches best with your values.
Perfect. I'm high-fiving you right now because that was so fire. That was so fire. Guys, I'm hoping that you guys took notes, and please replay this on loop because that's mind-boggling. It's amazing. And you're related to this guy? My God. This business is going to go places. But, Dave, because you mentioned also the dynamic of, because I know that it's very important. You mentioned teams and how important to build the right circle and the best people around you to move this journey, move this mission forward. And whether it's someone as close as a relative or as close as a brother or a friend or a colleague or someone totally outside your realm to bring it, how do we pick the best people for our mission? What would you say? How would we go about that?
So like something where I always deal with what I call street gigs is they're mainly artists that just don't really know what they're doing. They just know they want to make music and stuff. And like every time they say, I just need a team so I can get this, or I need a team to help me with this. They use it kind of like as an excuse, because a crutch because they don't have anything. And I personally, as soon as somebody says that, I'm like, you're already going to fail, dude. Because you
tell them that.
I'll tell them straight to their face. I don't give a shit. Like it's not doing them a service telling them what they want to hear. You got to tell them what they need to hear. I tell them straight up, basically be Goku. Be so damn good that people want to follow you. You know what I mean? That want to join your team. Like that's what me and Dillon did. Like I got really good at making records. And then my beatmate, when Tom joined, he's like, holy fuck, you mix really well, And then when we started signing an artist, holy shit, you can get those vocals sounding like like amazing, And then Dillon comes in with a whole, brand development plan or something behind the artist and all that, because he took the time to get really good at that. Like he was mentioning with the purpose and having a mastery of a skill. So me and him started developing our mastery of our skill around the same age to the point that we got to now. And then we started building a team, we started vetting them and all that stuff. And they saw the opportunity and the potential in us, and they saw we weren't dicking around. We actually make moves. So the only thing I can really say is be as good as fucking possible, because they will find you. Don't go out too hardcore looking for a team. Be able to handle everything yourself, just in case. If you can do everything yourself, then that's rad. Obviously you're not going to do it at the potential of like, say you bring on a manager or a label or all that stuff, but you can damn near get far by yourself, but yeah, that's pretty, just be Goku.
I would say on top of that too, like the reason for that is that if you want to be the best and you want the best around you, like you attract what you're like, right? If you're really fit, other fit people will notice you, right? If you're really fat, other fat people are going to notice you, right?
This is true.
So the idea of becoming who you want to surround you is so important. So like for me, when I was reading books, like I didn't go out and tell people I was reading books. What happened was I started having coworkers just look at my desk and they're like, oh, I always notice a new book on your desk, right? Like, so when I was still working the day job, like that's what happened. I was just doing like what I should do and building an identity around that. And that's the other thing too, on like the habit versus discipline idea. Both of those are less valuable than building an identity, because an identity won't allow you to fail, right? If you think you're an athlete, guess what? An athlete wakes up at 4:30 in the morning and runs sprints, right? Like, no, don't think you're the strongest. Don't think you're the fastest. Don't think you're the smartest. Think you're an identity that allows you to continue to get better. Like, I think I'm a learner. That's why I read books. I watch videos. I'll ask people questions they've never thought to answer before, right? Because I'm a learner. I don't see myself as smart. I see myself as a learner. And that's a huge difference. If you're an artist, first off, you absolutely should be a learner, because there is a lot you don't know, and you need to know, or you're going to get eaten alive in the music industry.
Yeah.
You need to accept that. You need to accept that it's going to be a lifelong learning process. And even to this day, you look at people like Jay-Z, he's always learning. He's always got something else. He's like the true Renaissance man, Right. It's you have to admire everything that he's done. I'm just throwing it out there because it's the first word that comes to mind, but you have to admire the longevity, and that comes through learning and developing. That's an amazing thing.
Yeah, he's also a great example of the idea that music is only 10% of it. Like, most of his money did not come from music.
There you go.
Money's coming from all his brand that he created, or all the brand partnerships that he did, Like that's why he's so
and the other businesses that he invested.
That's what I mean.
Like that's another thing like artists can do as if signing a record deal. If you're able to get $1 million deal or something, and you're really good at making Facebook shit stock yourself, go buy stocks with it. Don't be throwing it on jewelry and shit. Maybe budget the record or something. Like you can do so much on a laptop now. You don't need the big ass fancy studios. I know exactly what you need. To get a really good song, but yeah. Invest that shit. Buy your masters back.
Oh my God. Oh man. Guys, again, I hate to cut it short because I promise I wouldn't keep you guys too long, but it's been such an amazing, jam-packed, energy-filled conversation. I can't even begin to say, so many thanks and appreciation for so much energy and so much wisdom. This is exactly what we try to promote on the program. Just like, just having people of such a singular vision, a singular mindset. I can't, wish you nothing more than terrific success with the Upstate Sound and all the wonderful projects you guys have coming down the pipeline. I'm sure. If anyone wants to connect with you on the interwebs, where can we direct them? Twitter, Instagram, the website, where can we go?
Definitely Instagram if you want to connect with us quickly. So just at the Upstate Sound. And then our website is theupstatesound.com. It's the same on Twitter, everything, but Instagram's the easiest. The website, if you want to learn more about us, we've got, music videos up there. We have our artist up on there. Once our releases all come out, they'll be up on there. So yeah.
For sure. I'll definitely link it up, all the blog links and all the web links on the blog post once it goes live. We do have a running tradition on the podcast. Just final question, basically a kind of open platform, just like a red carpet type of thing of an exit. Spotlight is on you. No hot chair, no hot thing. It's what I call the next step. Anything, a daily practice, a favorite book, a song lyric, or a daily mantra, anything that someone can use tomorrow as one next step towards their personal next level. What can we leave the listeners with? I'll shoot it either Dave or Dillon or both. I don't care. Just one words of wisdom, if you will, just a parting words.
Go to the gym. Like every fucking day, go to the gym because like it'll solve like 80% of your problems. Like stress, depression, all that stuff. It'll help out tremendously. Like it helps with me anyways. That's something Joe Rogan said that like when back in ancient times or whatever, like when a saber tooth was after you, you have your flight or flight response, right? You either run away or you fight. You're exerting energy. That's anxiety, that's fear, that's stress, that's all that stuff. You have to exert energy once you start feeling those things. You know what I mean? So if you're stressed out at work or something, you got a deadline coming up, go to the gym. If your kids are stressing you out, if something else happened, like go to the gym. Like that's how I cope. Just like The Rock. It ain't, you see The Rock.
in Paradise.
Yeah, dude, it anchors him. Holy shit. Does it work? You know what I mean? Like it just alleviates all that stuff. And also like just going for a walk too, for like 2 hours, it tricks there was something on a Tom Bilyeu podcast where it tricks your mind into thinking you're walking past the problem. It's actually really cool.
Wow.
So whenever I was kind of like feeling away, I'd always go for a walk. Like as long as it took. I've gone for 3 hours before, as long as it took.
Wow. I've never gone 3 hours. I do a couple of walks around my neighborhood. I've never done the like 2 hour thing, but I didn't know that. That's a good one. A good one. Dillon, you got one?
I do, but for the nerds out there too, when you work out, you also release BDNF into your brain, which actually causes your brain to get better at memory and learning new skills. So literally going to the gym first thing in the morning and then coming home and getting to the Beat Lab, is an incredible way to get more creative, more, absorb more knowledge and skills. So just for the nerds out there. But, for me, my one piece of advice, I do have favorite books and all that stuff, but my simplest piece of advice is a life philosophy I came up with from reading a ton of different books on self-development, happiness, just growth in general, productivity and philosophy. But it's count the green lights. And the whole idea is, you get those people coming into work and they're like, oh, I caught every red light on the way to work, right? But the problem is I've never heard anyone come in and be like, wow, I didn't catch a single red light the whole way to work, right? And it turns out the reason for that is our brains are designed to do two things: survive or to keep us safe, and to conserve energy so that we can stay safe. Those are the only two objectives it ever has. And so the whole idea is that if you're running through a red light, that's stopping you. Oh no, I'm going to be late to work. Oh no, I can't make money to feed my family. I will not survive. Right. So you're going to remember that.
Wow.
Right? Important. You catch a green light, that means nothing to your brain, right? It turns out happy memories, if not sustained in the brain for at least 11 seconds, that's the actual amount of time it takes,
11 seconds.
Disappear from your memory forever, right? That's why people, when they get older, suddenly life seems to fly past them. They don't remember, like they're like, oh my God, it's the last 5 years seems like it's been a week. That's weird, because as I've started growing and started learning new things, and specifically doing things like counting the green lights, looking at any individual moment as a potential awesome moment, no matter how insignificant it might seem, my lifespan since 2016 has expanded so drastically. Like the year 2016 alone, I have more memories than every year before that, like massively more. And every year, like this year, I was mentioning like, oh yeah, when we started that business,
holy shit, man!
I swear to God, I thought that we had started all of our businesses a year and a half ago. It was 11 months ago.
Wow.
Stuff we did. Dude. I'm doing that so frequently now that it's mind-boggling. I'm like, oh yeah, a few weeks ago when we did that. Wait, that was 3 days ago. Like it felt like so long, because my one day, like today alone, I had 6 different meetings for 6 completely different reasons, right? And each of those things, I met someone new, I learned something new, I taught something new, and because of that, I expanded my threshold of memory. And our brains can hold an almost infinite amount of memory. The problem is people forget how to, like, our culture, society, whatever, forgot how to do that. Our brains are incredibly powerful, but one of the reasons we don't keep our memories is we don't count the green lights.
11 seconds.
Yeah, and doing that alone, like that, like is a form of gratitude practice. If you don't do that, like practicing gratitude, that alone makes life less stress. Like it's near impossible to make me angry. It is like you'd have to do something like devastatingly bad to me to cause anger, and I would only use it as a tool, and I would be aware that I'm using it, where most people have no idea when they're getting angry.
That's
right?
phenomenal.
And it's all from just this massive amount of gratitude for the littlest things.
So all we need is 11 seconds of our day, and just like taking every opportunity, every single moment, no matter how insignificant, as you put it, as a potential to be the best memory, the best moment ever in this current moment in time. Accept the green light for what it is.
Yeah. And honestly, a simple way to do that is every time I catch a green light, I think about it till I hit the next intersection, whether it's green or red, it doesn't matter. Right. Mm-hmm. And that alone, it's like incredibly powerful. Like when I was younger, I don't remember much before I was like 10. I have so little memory back then. Like I was terrible at memory. And because of that, I used to keep everything I had, toys and pictures, just because I was afraid if I didn't have it, I couldn't like trigger a memory anymore. And now, like, I have so many memories over the last couple of years. Like, it's an insane, like, the stuff that we've done in just the couple of years I've been here. I just actually, what was it? What's today? The 10th. 2 days ago, I had Facebook tell me it was only 2 years ago we just met Tom, the first member of the team. And I was like, that felt like it was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like it felt like a decade ago. It felt so long ago, because from that moment we've done so much. My brain can't figure out how to make it make sense that it was only a year.
It feels like a decade this year, man. Like we've been doing so much stuff, and that's what I like. I like going so fast that I don't know what to do next. Like
there you go.
Before.
There you go. You got to stay hungry. Because the excitement is there. Because again, when you're so busy doing shit, especially when you're so busy doing shit, you don't have time to complain. You don't have time to be depressed, because you're too busy, like, making stuff happen, making stuff happen for your greater purpose. You guys are like, I don't know, open invitation, man. We got to do this again. I've had too much fun.
There's like so much other shit too. Like you could give for advice. It's just so much. But again, I can only be, eternally grateful. Again, like I said, a pleasure, an honor, and a thrill. Dave, Dillon, you guys are like, kings among men. I really appreciate your time. It's been a thrill of a conversation. Thanks so much. Again, I can't wish you anything more than, the blessings and the success that you definitely deserve. And we definitely will be checking in again just to see what the Upstate Sound is up to, because again, I'm only seeing great things. You guys are really sold me on this one. Yeah, man. I'll send you the song.
For sure. Guys, another episode of Awaken the Awesome in the can. Guys, thank you so much for checking in, supporting the mission, this wonderful podcast. We just try to bring one episode at a time, trying to, just helping you guys do better every day. As always, love you guys. Have a terrific evening. Stay blessed, stay safe, and as always, stay awesome. This has been another episode of the Awaken the Awesome podcast. We always love to get your feedback, so please do drop us a line via Instagram, Facebook, or email. Our email address, awakentheawesome@gmail.com. Do visit our official website at awakentheawesome.ca, where you can find our entire back catalog of episodes and incredible guests. Also, if you haven't already, please hop on over to Apple Podcasts and subscribe, give us a rating, and leave us a review, as this helps us tremendously in growing this podcast and spreading the word to more awesome listeners like you. We always appreciate your support, and thank you for listening. Stay awesome.